Hello, everybody. I hope all of y'all are having a good day today. Most of you guys know my born again date is June 14th, 2012, and just maybe 3 months after that, I uploaded my very first video on YouTube, my testimony. I recorded it on 9/11/2012, and I uploaded it on 9/12 of 2012. And since that time, I've been just putting out videos. I mean, since that time, I haven't gotten like what you call sleep. There's been a few nights that I have, but for the most part, whenever I go to sleep, it's like my body is laying down, but my mind is somewhere else. It's like you're being connected to the source, and you're just being downloaded. It's like teachings, just boom, they just come from everywhere. It's at night. It happens during the day when I'm driving down the road or I'm at the gym, but at night it's really intense. It's just boom. Now I wake up and I've got all these things, videos and stuff that I want to do. Right now I've probably got 8 videos in my head and teachings on what I need to do. The majority of the videos that I've made have been on how Christ's love, how His Spirit transformed me. It was not by my works. It was God that did it. He made me a new person. I remember in the beginning, I was telling people it was like I had 2 programs inside me, but only one program was working, and it was the negative program. It was the program that was causing me to do all kinds of bad, things that affected me negatively and all those around me. I was very selfish. And then one day it was like, on June 14th of 2012, it's like that switch just got switched, and this other program started working, and this one went dormant. All right, and since I've been talking about that, about how, it's not by our works, it's not works of your hands, that changes you. It's the works of the Spirit, and whenever the Spirit is within you, there's the fruit of the Spirit. And if God's Spirit is alive and awake in you, people will know it. They're going to see the transformation in you, and they're going to go, that person is a child of God, a woman of God, a man of God, a son of God, a daughter of God, whatever. They're just going to know because God's fruit. Remember, Jesus said, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. The Father and I are one. And that's what those who are born of the Spirit should say as well. The sons of God are led by the Spirit of God. And it means that you have died. You whenever God came to you, you laid down your life. All right? If that has happened to you, if you've been transformed by God's love, you've experienced His love, and you handed Him the reins, and here, take it, it's yours. This body is your vessel now. And do the works that you prepared it for before time began. Remember in Ephesians chapter 2? All right? So I've been talking about this for years and years and years. Shortly after I started making videos, I guess it was around 2015, I had one man in particular make contact with me. Before that, I had people contacting me all the time in Messenger wanting to speak to me personally. They would hunt me down, find me on Facebook or whatever, want to talk to me and tell me how wrong I am, how deceived I am. I even had one person drive 18 hours, found me in Omaha, Texas. They had heard one video with a friend of mine was there, and they mentioned the name Omaha, Texas. And this person come to Omaha, Texas, and went to a real estate office or an insurance office and asked for Billy Hobbs. And in a small town, everybody's like, oh yeah, they just live right down the corner. They could have sent a serial killer to my house, But anyway, this person wanted to come to my house and tell me that I was wrong about things. All right, they go out of their way. Me, I'm, if you believe a different way than me, that's cool. You believe, you do whatever you want to do. Go make videos about it if you want to. But don't come to me and try to drag me down to your way of thinking, okay? I'm sharing this with you guys because I want to share with you what I have witnessed in my walk, okay? In about 2015, a man contacted me And he was telling me, whenever I first spoke to him, we were physically talking, verbally talking, and he had asked me 3 times, is this the Billy Hobbs from YouTube? I told him, yeah. At the 3rd time, he said, I'm going to ask you one more time. Is this you? Are you the one from YouTube or what? Real angry. And I said, I've told you 3 times, yes. You're having a hard time hearing me. He was really rude. And I knew then, I just knew in my spirit, this is not a man of God. This is somebody angry. He's a doctrinal believer. And he tried to convince me that he had an encounter with God, and it was love. And he said, and God told him that he loved him. But not once did he ever tell me anything about how God transformed him. This love of God made him new, and his whole life has changed now. He began to tell me that real grace, because God came and had grace on him and he shared his love with him, is that now he can do whatever he wants to do. It doesn't matter in God's eyes. If I'm a jerk, I can be a jerk. If I'm a whatever, a murderer, a child diddler, anything like that, it doesn't matter. Grace. And anytime I would mention about how, he would say, if you're trying to say that you changed and all that, then that's the works of the law. And I said, no, there's a difference between the works of the law and the works of the Spirit within the person. But he wouldn't have nothing to do with it. He was totally against the Spirit of God changing you and making you new. He was totally against laying down his life. Remember, it's written, if you want to save your life, you'll lose it, but if you lose your life for his sake, you'll gain it. He tried to save his life, and by doing so, he lost his chance. He lost his chance to have a new life because he wanted to keep his. Sorry about that, y'all. I had to change locations. Anyway, he lost his chance. And I've lost contact with him over the years. It's been, I guess, around 8 years now since I've even thought about him or had any contact with him at all. And the other day, my wife, Lynn, posted something on Facebook, and she was just giving thanks to God for something that had happened, and she was just rejoicing. And he posted something in the comments, has never, ever posted anything to her before. He posted something about, wouldn't it be nice if everybody would use the real names of God and Jesus, Yahweh and Yeshua and all that. And my wife came to me because her English is she understands my English, but when people type English to her, it's a little different. And she said something about this comment seems bad to me. She said there's something in it that she says I just feel something negative off of it. And so I read it and I said, oh, I know this guy. So I read it, and he was now he's all about them names. It's like all the Hebrew words and all that stuff, and anybody else that don't do it, well, you're just uneducated, in the Spirit or whatever. And I told my wife what he was meaning, and I let her handle it, because she's probably more spiritually mature than I am. Lynn she had an encounter with God that changed her life forever. And 20 years ago, I've got a picture of her 20 years ago feeding children down by the river, the street kids living on her own. God changed her and just put it in her heart to help people, and she was poor. She could be too, but she was raising money, getting money, and working odd jobs to do it, to feed children. It was just what God put in her heart to do. She's very strong in the Spirit, and I let her handle it. Well, I went to his page yesterday or the day before, I guess, and this is his new ideology now. His new ideology is that it's about keeping all these sacred namers, we call them sacred namers, keeping all the sacred names and keeping the law, keeping the Sabbath, not eating certain foods, just all the law. And he says that God does not care about your personal moral behavior. You can act and behave any way you want. You can be a drunkard, idolater, it doesn't matter. You can do all these things. As long as you keep those commandments, God is happy. See, he's brought works back into it now. Before, he was totally against works because, see, he didn't want to be changed. He didn't want to die and have Christ raise up in him. He wanted to save his life. So now he's back to, well, I believe in Yeshua, Jesus, but we have to keep the law. And the law makes God happy, not our moral behavior. So in other words, he's sacrificing God over and over and over again. He's sacrificing Christ over and over again. Because he's believing in his works now that keep God happy. And it doesn't matter what kind of person he is. Doesn't matter. He can just keep on being that same old jerk that he was before. But he's keeping the Sabbath. And he's pointing fingers and accusing others now. It's all about, the whole thing in his life is not giving up his life for Christ to raise up in him. That's his whole thing, is to save his life. Whether it be fear or just ego, pride, or whatever. The problem I have with folks like this is it's okay for them to believe whatever they want to believe. But it's whenever you start sneaking into their households, because see, he knew he couldn't get me. But he snuck in on my wife's back door, creeped in and tried to bait her, thinking maybe she is a weak link and he could get in his poison with her. Luckily, my wife discerned exactly who he was. She knew. That's the amazing thing about the Spirit of God. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but don't be trying to bring others down to your way of thinking. Misery loves company. I had a miserable, horrible life until I laid down my life and Christ gave me a new life. I love you all. God bless.